Don't want to say that writing your opening pages is the most important part of your book, but it's the most important part of your book. Good afternoon guys, my name is Kat and today we are talking your opening pages or the start of your book. So realistically, you're starting a new book, your opening pages are the most important part. Like, you don't have to get them perfect now, but down the road you will. So since you want this part of your book to be so good, you want to spend a lot of time thinking about it. Honestly, what I like to do when I'm starting a new book, I spend a lot of time just, usually before bed or something, just thinking it through. Exactly what I want to happen in the first pages, exactly how I want to write it, exactly what I want to include. Your opening pages, realistically, they set the stage for your entire novel. They set the feel, they set sometimes the theme, they set up your book, and they set up your main character, and they set up what your story is about. Keep in mind, when you're writing your opening scene, I really hope you are an outliner. So writing an outline, first of all, I think personally is the most important part of the writing process, besides actually editing and writing the book. When you're doing your outline, of course, you're gonna be brainstorming, you're gonna be writing down ideas, but when you're starting the book, you may decide, Susie Q goes and does this. But how do you want to write that? What do you want your first sentence to be? Your first sentence needs to draw your reader in. It's usually punchy or something cool, something you've never really read before. I know that puts a lot of fucking pressure on it, but that's what it's like. That's what the opening pages are. A stressful mess. Now, things I want to be sure that you do not include in your opening pages. I do not want to see any goddamn fight scenes. You do not know who to root for, you don't know who your character is, you have no idea why they're fighting. It's not a good way to open the book. Like, some people do it in a really good way. You can open the story with action, but just be sure it's action that's relevant and it's action that moves the plot along and introduces us in a non-chaotic way that we can understand. Another important thing to do is do not over-describe, for the love of God. I want to know about your protagonist, I want to know who they are, what they're all about. I don't give a shit about the color of the drapes. I want to know what your character is about. I want to know who he or she is. I want to know the struggles they face, who they are. Are they, a badass? Are they a sweetheart? I want to know. So tell me in your opening pages. Another big thing to make sure you don't do is do not introduce too many characters. Keep in mind, you know your characters. Whoever's reading it is just meeting them. So don't throw 20 characters at us. Don't even throw 5. Throw maybe 2 or 3 characters. I would say up to 4 is probably okay, depending on how relevant they are, but do not, for the love of God, give us any more than that. We need to actually see your story and your characters, the main characters. I am going to get so bogged down with just character names and who people is and how they relate. So you really want to focus in on your main character or main characters. Like, for example, in the Aldar Dominion, which I wrote last year for NaNoWriMo, I started it out with 2 characters. My 2 main characters, my main gal, my main guy, being sassy and badass, getting some description in so you know what they look like, and just generally not bogging you down with who these people are. Another example of an opening scene. In Haven, actually, you can read the opening pages on my website. The opening scene for Haven is worried about her coronation. She's about to be crowned queen of her kingdom, so she's worried about that, and she's worried about, living up to her parents, and she's worried about living up to her people's expectations. And then she's kind of pacing in the hallway, and then the doors open and she has to go through her coronation. So we take you through her coronation, and that way we're only introducing really Haven, and we start introducing Tama, her most trusted advisor, and then at the end of the scene she gets shot in the chest with an arrow. So that's kind of the big, oh my god, what's happening moment, and that is the opening pages. And then, of course, other characters are introduced that chapter. I think another 2 characters are introduced, so we get up to about 4 characters in the opening chapter, but in the opening pages, it's mostly just all about Haven. The last example I'm gonna give is actually for Sanctum. It's for the second book I ever wrote. So Sanctum starts out with Sky. She is in an alleyway interrogating this kind of just like low-life guy. She's trying to find her brother, who she's trying to seek revenge after. So the first chapter is really just all about her, but even the opening pages, we have this character, we have her, and the other guy, just the guy who's interrogating, she doesn't really care about him, but then she goes through after the interrogation and she goes to follow the lead. So we get to see her reaction to the city, to her surroundings, we get to just see what her goal is, and we get to really focus in on who she is and what she wants. If you'd like to read a little bit more on just some things I've mentioned about opening pages, check out my blog. I did a post last year for NaNoWriMo about opening pages, so this is all gonna sound really reiterated if you have read that or if you're going to go read that, but it just kind of breaks it down a little bit more. If you're better at just kind of reading things and taking things in, that may be better for you. So I will be sure to leave the link for that in the description box below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about opening pages. They are super important, but if you're really worried about them, don't worry too much because you can always go back and edit it later. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you dig the video. Leave me a comment below letting me know any questions you have, or let me know about your opening scene. I'd love to know what you're writing about. And just subscribe if you're new here. Check out Haven, an ebook, paperback, hardcover on Amazon. You can read the first 3 chapters free on my website. I'd love if you guys took a minute to check those out. Really proud of the book, and it's doing pretty well so far, so please just take a minute to go read what it's all about. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Kat, and I'll see you next week.